Robert, we're live.
Oh,
All right.
I mean, I can never tell.
Day after Christmas.
All right, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Happy holidays.
All right, awesome. So, I mean, big news.
Yeah.
Right on here, man.
Where-
We got Robert Farnsworth joining us. I've watched your stuff for many years.
Thank you.
Learned a whole lot, actually, so
Nice.
super awesome.
That makes me feel good.
So, hey, we're going to talk a little bit about what Robert's doing here with us today, and you'll learn about that. We'll also learn about how that incorporates with hashtag AskBeersTV and the Facebook group there. We'll talk a little bit about your journey,
Yeah.
a little bit like where Robert's been, where he's going, what he's doing. And, well, first off, man, thank you for coming
Yeah.
on out, right?
Thank you
All
for
right.
having me, man. This is exciting.
So, anybody out there guess how long Robert's actually been working with us? I'm curious, because it's actually been for a little while.
Yeah. So, of April of this year, I joined BRS. It was an interesting thing. Something I didn't, think about. I wanted to move to Tennessee. I wanted to move to a small town, get my family there, and obviously I had to make some changes professionally, and I thought about it for a long time, and I just landed here. It's a great company. The culture's really cool here. It's really awesome.
Well,
Really
thank
awesome.
you.
That's what I like the best about it. So far it's been awesome. It's really exciting now that I guess I get to create content again and connect with the community. Some of the hardest things has been like the sort of self-imposed hiatus of not being in the industry, for this last year. And it's all because of just moving my family and all that. That's just a lot of work, And so all the fish tanks that got broken down, I don't have a fish tank right now, which is like I'm jonesing. Like, that's a hard thing, dude.
You should
It's
leave
like,
here with one today. There's so many here. You should actually leave one for sure.
I mean, I was thinking about it, and it's been 20 years, man, since I haven't had a fish tank in my house.
That's
wow.
That's the most tragic thing I've ever. It's Christmas, man. Like, we're gonna hook you up. So for those of you who don't know, actually he's been working with us since April and writing articles. So if you watched any of our emails and they link to a page and there's like all that, you think, turn the video into like something actually even more useful with the articles in there, kind of step by steps and stuff. So you've been doing that for months now.
Yeah, since April.
And the only first and only so far offsite BRS employee.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
You get to do it from home in Tennessee. That's pretty
That's
cool.
been fun, yeah. It's nice. I mean, you can actually, working from home is one of those like double-edged swords sometimes, but it really allows you to focus and not get distracted. At the office, and you don't really know this until you work remotely, but you get a lot of distractions at the office, and so it's cool to really just focus on not be distracted by all these other things, and just focus on the written content. And it's been good. I feel like I'm honing a skill, that was there before, but I just, with each one I put out, I feel like I'm learning something new and get better at it. So that's
Cool, it's fun.
It's neat, yeah.
So for those of you, we are going to talk about what Robert's role is going to be over on the Facebook group, and it's going to be really cool. But we're going to get kind of weed into there, but the whole thing, Ask Beers TV is Ask Us Questions. So if you got any questions you guys want to ask, man, shoot them. We'll just kind of randomly go through them as we go out through today. But the big thing here is we really want to hear from you guys on what you really liked about watching Robert in the past, as well as what you'd like to see in the future. So share that stuff. And Carlos behind the screen here will put them up for us to share with you guys. And so I just ask to start right out the bat. You said today, man, you shared a little bit of where your first tank came from.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna spend a ton of time on this, but where's your background history in reefing and
Sure.
what took you here?
Okay, so I guess it all started when I was about 15. I mean, even before that, I grew up having a real big appreciation for the natural world. Dad's outdoorsman, so I grew up outside doing that kind of stuff. Got a job when I was 15. So that meant I had some money in my pocket to go buy a fish tank and have a pet. So I went and did that. It was a goldfish. And then when I think I was about 17, I started working for a big chain pet store. And within a year of that, I was overseeing the live animal department, which is everything. And then when I was 21 is when I started working for Marine Depot, and I was doing customer service there. And then fast forward to today. I've always kind of been infatuated with fish in the ocean. I grew up in Southern California, so I had the ocean there, and that was a big captivating thing. Something I think about, what I told you guys earlier, I think I have a journey that's a little different than people because I've always, like, this has always been my professional thing. So it's been a big part of my personal life, and I love it. But I've always worked in the industry. And so I think I've been, I call myself spoiled, maybe that's the wrong word, but it's just like, I've just always been around people that are good at it, that love it, they're passionate. I've kind of been privy to, I don't want to say privy to, I've had access to information that might, you know, be challenging for other people to kind of get, you know. I did learn the hobby on books. Forums were a little bit, but like, you know, when I started, it was books, man, and then other people. The guys at the Southern California Marine Aquarium Society back in California, they were invaluable, you know, just all those friendships. And I think to this day, like, you know, I'm always learning, and some of the biggest aha moments or the things that you learn is like when you're there and you're touching it and you're with other dudes, like hanging out with you guys, coming here and playing with fish tanks, like you learn things. So in terms of my journey, I think that's the biggest thing that I value about it, and I think it's, I don't know, I'm appreciative of it, you know.
So I just got to tell you, like when I heard that you'd moved to Tennessee and you might be looking for a new job, like, I got super excited because I've like I used to shop at Marine Depot, right? As a hobbyist, you could do awesome work over there, and like I've seen like some of the emails and stuff that comes out of there. I knew you were doing them, and you can just tell like reading it, man. Like this person is passionate about what they're doing, right? And I'm like, man, like. This has always been like a missing piece of the puzzle here. Like we do like hopefully videos well, but like we're also kind of missing some of the written content and stuff that matches it. And this would be such a great like honor for me to have you on the team, matching that. And like I don't know, it's super exciting.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be cool, the kind of stuff that we can do together. I think it's neat. It'll be fun, man.
Were the blogs? Was the blogs all you too? Marine Depot blogs?
No. So there was a great team there. I should say.
I read
this,
a lot of those.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite stuff.
No,
if I don't want to watch a video.
There's a guy by the name of Jeff, man. He's one of my good friends to this day. But he actually taught me a lot about writing and some of the stuff that I do now, like a lot of that stuff. He's a really talented guy. So he did a lot of the blogging. I would do different things. My main focus over there was video. Okay. And of course I wrote those, and that, you know, has a certain, it's different writing, but I still sort of hone that same skill. And so that was kind of my main focus there. I would jump into the blog when it would be like a blog about a video. But, you know, and I guess early on too, before I was real heavy into video, I was doing some like the educational stuff. Like I wrote like how-to articles and different things like that. But when we started doing video real heavy, I kind of, you know, you guys know, man, you got to focus on that 100%. It takes like
full time.
Yeah, man, it takes a lot of your time, and it's not an easy thing to do. So,
did you have do you have like an editor team and you, or you were editing most of your videos?
So in the beginning, it was mostly it was 2013. I started doing videos there, and then from there, it was all me for the first 4 years or so, and then 1918. I think the beginning of 2018, maybe late 2017. We hired an editor, a full-time editor.
I mean, thank God. As somebody that
you've done it on your own too.
Shot the stuff, wrote it, shot it, edited it in my basement. Like the day that Dave came in, or like, where were you my whole life?
I know. Yeah. And it's funny, like, you know, I taught myself how to do that. You know, and then you get this guy that's like trained to do it, went to school for it, is really good at it. It really
laps around you.
Oh my God, dude! Things that would take me like an hour, you know, or like just super intuitive. He's like, no, just do this. I'm like, okay, Mr. Shortcut.
4 hotkeys. Man, what am I even doing?
And of course, in time, you get better at it. But no, that was a big relief. And what's cool about it was it sort of freed up that mental space to sort of branch out, start doing some other things, which is really fun. You know, like I like to be creative. I like to contribute my ideas, and kind of like, I don't know, the funnest thing too is like doing things that are a little different, not so cookie cutter, you know.
All right, so that leads us right into like where we're going today, right? All right, so for those of you who've been following, there's like a group called #AskBeerisTV. It's on Facebook, and it's like kind of like a brand new way of communicating with each other, especially within the reefing community. You say brand new, like in the last year or two, right?
Yeah, it's online. It's all been forums. For the most part.
Books, YouTube, whatever. And like for those of you who don't know, YouTube came out like in late 2005. First BeerisTV video was 2008. So it was like right on the cusp of like figuring out what this tool really even is. Now, Facebook's obviously been around for a long time, but it's largely a way to communicate with your friends and family. And in recent years, it's suddenly become a way to communicate with your peers, right?
Well, businesses too, but yeah.
Yeah, like and learn about different things, whether it be reefing or knitting or automobiles or whatever it may be, right? And you can hang out in groups and get like kind of real-time feedback, like in your phone. It gets instant feedback to questions. You can answer other people's questions. You can learn new stuff in a totally different way. So I'm really excited to see, like 5 years from now, like where does that community go?
What does
right?
it look like?
Does it end up like the YouTube community did, from 2008 to 2013 and now? Like, are they like supplemental? Do they work together? And so I thought we'd just share like a couple of different ideas that we're talking about doing here. Hopefully, I like desperately want to hear from you guys. Like,
yes,
what would you like to see? Right? What would you like to see out of the whole group? But also, what would you like to see out of Robert in particular? Because Robert's super excited to give it to you.
Yeah, exactly, man. I want to, I think all of us have been doing this for some time, and like we revisit the same topics and we really try to do different things. But, what do you guys like? Ultimately, we do this for you and your benefit. So what are the kind of things within the group specifically, but I guess across the board, content-wise? What can we do for you? What do you think you'll get the most out of this year? Because, I'm super excited to be a part of the social team here. Ask BRS TV as well, but, just social across the board and creating content that's going to be valuable to you guys and maybe in a different way that you haven't seen from BRS before. So I'm excited for that. So definitely give it to us. Feed us feedback in comments, emails, whatever it takes, man. Let us know.
So the most obvious thing here is just like Q&A, right?
Yeah,
you
Q&A.
can go there and answer questions.
Direct line. I'll be there, man, all the time.
So never have you had a direct line to Robert like you will have now, right? You want to pick Robert's mind, man. You just go on your phone and pick it. And so like you'll have answers to there's standard Q&A, and in the past we kind of like ebbed and flowed with how we answer questions. Randy, like what was the first way we did it?
Starting out, it was Wild West.
Wild
The group was young. We're at what 21,000 members in the group now. So big. Starting out when it was like 2,000, 3,000, Wild West was fine, and everybody would just you could throw up a post and it didn't matter what it was. And then it got a little heavier, a lot more people, a lot more opinions, different personalities. So had to rein that in a little bit. So then we turned it to an approve your post type of approach, because there's probably, out of all the posts that come in, and there's hundreds of posts per day, some of those posts, it's maybe it's order related, and not the entire group needs to know about, figure out like, we can answer your question about your order, but maybe it doesn't need to be on your feed the entire time. But.
Well, also, it's now called #AskWildWest.
Oh yeah, no.
Right?
No, there's plenty of groups out there where you can just like go out and ask a whole bunch of questions, or just talk as a group in a community. But this is like Ask BRS.
Yeah, we don't want to sift through the muck to get to the root of the problem.
I don't know. Like, I ask a question, I hope the first answer is the right answer.
Right.
The best of my ability. That makes it the most valuable.
Well, Google's smart enough, like just at least raise it to the top,
Yep. So in this case, we're going to actually ebb and flow a little bit backward now, right? And like, because the community is learning so much from each other, right? Many times the answer is the same thing that we answer ourselves, right?
Yeah. So we evolved into us approving all the posts, and then we wanted to be the first one to answer that question, like you said. We wanted to be a BRS face, answer the question first, and with a team of like upwards of 3 people, and you and I chiming in every now and then, the amount of stuff for that to happen is massive.
Well, and as it grows and it gets more valuable, you only use it more too.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So like right now, I asked Adam, and Adam says he's answering about 1/3 of them, and then he's letting 2/3 of them just go through for the community because there isn't like a real need. The community knows all this stuff. There isn't a real need for it, but if there's like a real complex answer, and that commonly gets I'll just say it, wrong answers attached to it.
Right.
He's going to answer it first. But also now with you on the team, I think there's like new opportunities here too, right? So we can answer like those questions, the hard ones, But also, there's this cool thing in here, and I like really hope that we use it. I really do. It's called learning units.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And so, like the learning units, like allow you to create like a little like pre-quiz within the Facebook group. So, like you want to learn about like filtration, like it'll ask you a whole bunch of questions, and you can answer to the best of your ability, and then it'll tell you whether you got it right or wrong, right? And then there's like a learning unit. You can like watch videos or read articles that you write or whatever.
You can curate the stuff that put in there that's valuable to whatever it is, and then maybe after we can have conversations like one-on-ones or something like that.
Boom.
You know, figure out the specific problem that you're having. Sometimes it's easier just to talk to somebody as opposed to like sit and wait for an answer. I mean, if you're holding the tube of water here and you got a pump over here and you need to get that answer. Yeah, I think the group's gonna be a great way to get that. You know?
So like I think there's like something here like in the essence of like, I mean, somebody asked you, how do I get it? Is this aptasia?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, but like, where do we go now? You know, where's the following answers of like, how do I get rid of it?
That stuff will sting coral, and you probably don't want to let it get out of control. And you know, here's the best way to get rid of it.
And so, like, you can do a little pre-quiz on like aptasia, right? And then like all the ways that you get rid of it, and like the do's and don't do's. You know, like whatever you do, don't kill it.
Don't use aptasia X.
Yeah, don't use stuff that'll spread it.
Well, and
spread
then, you know, you have the community there because say there's 5 different ways to do things, and then you're going to obviously see that there's one of those that's going to rise to the top. And getting that feedback from, you know, unbiased, or let's just say other hobbyists like you know, it's super valuable, man. Like I said, for me, being always working in the industry, I was privy to this information, and the stuff was pretty obvious to me. And I worked with people that have been doing this for years. And you know, as a hobbyist, sometimes it's challenging. I mean, I experience it. I'm a big fisherman, liked RC cars for a long time, and so that experience was completely different than aquariums. You know, trying to learn stuff. Like I have to go to the hobby shop, talk to the guys for hours. With fishing, you know, I mean, that's one thing you get out and you just get better by doing it, just like anything. But yeah, still a different experience than what the reef hobby has been for me, you know. And I think access to this information that we have now is better than ever. It's crazy, it's insane. The difference, even in the last 10 years. And what's cool is, you know, Facebook's got these groups and you have an instant access to peers, professionals, businesses, like all in one place, you know, like it would take you hours and 4 different emails and different books to have all that access. Now you have one place to go and just post it up. You get 3 answers from 3 different, you know, professionals or experts on the, you know, opinion. Somebody who's done it all the time, somebody who does it for a living, you know, and then somebody that's just like you, sitting at home, you know.
So for me, this is like a really big thing, right? And it's really, really hard to get to the bottom of this in a lot of different methods. If I go ask a question, you know, like, how do I do X? You know, get rid of this or install this or whatever. What happens is there's usually a big debate about it.
Yeah.
And the debate is actually mudding through, like, some actions are actually wrong, but actually most of them are right. And it's just this big debate about which one's the best, right? And so as a new person you're asking this question,
it's hard.
Like, yeah, well, I mean, well, of course I want the best, but I actually really just want something that is easy to do and works.
Yeah.
Right?
Something that works.
Yeah, and so hopefully with like the learning units or just the Ask BSGB in general, like we can give you an answer that's in a super easy to digest, reliable, and even shareable manner that helps you understand how to do this in a way that works, right? Like we can get rid of the debate about the best possible manner that like I got 3% more performance out of this thing or whatever, who cares? Like after I've solved my problem, now I can get into that like escalation. But
Sure.
Most of the people asking this just need to solve today's problem.
Well, it's like you are getting our answer first in that you could wade through all of those different options, and like you said, some are right, most of them are right, a lot of them are right, but more importantly, like what would BRS say? And you know, if you ask your aptasia question, and what's your aptasia question? You know, you get that one a whole lot, but you could just go to this learning unit and be like, everything in this learning unit is BRS's answer. So if you want to, you can pose that question to the group and get a whole slew of different types of answers and stuff. But if you want to know what BRS, if you want to know what we would say, it's already right here in the unit.
So for those of you who don't know, when you say the BRS answer, what you're really saying is like, I mean, because it's coming out of Robert or Randy or I's mouth, it might seem like it's like our way or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not, actually. It's like when you're talking about Aptasia or whatever, it is the fact that we go back and sit in a circle and huddle with every customer service agent, every marketing person here, and like, how do we beat this thing? You know, what works, what doesn't work, and so there's literally like hundreds of years of reefing.
And we do it all. We like go through the experience, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
That's huge.
And like, well, that didn't work. That did work. Why did it work here but not there?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then not only that, but all the customer service agents talk to probably 100 different reefers every single day, right? So there's like, when you say like the BRS answer, it's really like your answer. You know, it's tens of thousands of reefers talking to dozens of customer service and marketing people, all of us talking together, collecting this information into hopefully an answer that works.
Yeah.
Right? And like get past the debate for the best, because that's just kind of a different thing, right?
Yeah, that's a tough one when it's like, I don't know. As opposed to just product. We're not just talking about products here. I mean, the huge part of this hobby is how to do things, how to understand you know, it's the best reef keeper keeps water, you know, or whatever that saying goes. Is like we're water keepers, you know, like we don't keep fish tanks, we keep water. As long as you do that, everything else is going to fall in line.
Yeah, okay, so next one, man, it feeds right into this kind of stuff, is, I mean, we were immediately like, well, maybe Robert could do some awesome videos on Facebook too, right?
Yeah.
So Facebook actually has like a really easy to use video things.
Yeah.
You can do them live, you
Yeah.
can pre-record them, edit them, and upload them. You can answer questions you guys have via video. You could, you know, maybe do videos that go into the learning unit. So anything you guys might like to see, like, hey, I really liked watching Robert do this thing in the past.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun if he did it here?
I'm
Let us
excited
know.
to sort of, so everything I've done before was like really sort of pre-produced, you know, like it took a lot of time thinking about it, did it by myself. So it'll be neat being on the social side and it's not just live, but like it's just a way to kind of be raw, to kind of, you know, talk. And I feel like I'll have a better connection with some of you guys out there, and we all have a common interest, you know, like we all are friends on a certain level because we all like reef takes. So I'm excited to sort of to take that approach to it, you know.
That'd be fun, like
yeah.
Thursdays, Ask Robert.
There you go.
You know, whatever, right? Like pop in for an hour and answer questions, man. Just engage with people and have fun.
Yeah,
Right.
no,
So, anything you guys might like to see out of that, man, let us know for sure. Also, one of the things that I think is going to be super fun is extension of the deals.
So we did this like in Black Friday, and it's happened here and there too, but like specifically for the Ask BRS TV Facebook group, I mean, there's unique deals and stuff out there. So we had talked about like you reaching out to some vendors and like coming up with a very specific deal only to the Ask BRS TV group, which is exciting.
For people on social, like, you know, we could do, we do competitions, we could do contests and giveaways. We could do like the daily deals like you guys have done, but
that stuff's fun.
yeah, like I'm kind of thinking about stuff that like rewards you for engagement, you know, like active users, or I don't know, maybe use a badge system, you know, for guys that contribute to the group more so than others, or valuable ways, you know, we can reward those guys. Just exciting, man. We got a lot to do, but you know, it's neat to be a part of it. It's neat to be a part of this group. You know, I've been an outsider. I shouldn't say an outsider, but like, you know, just outside looking in for so long, and I never thought I'd be sitting here, you know, but here we are today, and we're gonna kick some serious butt.
So for those who don't know, over on Facebook, we do daily deals and stuff over there. Like they pop in and give on Facebook you can get buy one get one free, all kinds of stuff. And so because Robert happens to know a lot of the supply chain here as well, like hopefully we're gonna reach out to them and get like kind of ridiculous deals, like the BOGO type stuff, which is get one buy one get one free. We can kind of do it on a daily basis and really get new opportunities to try out new things. Maybe they're like extreme deals, like half off or something just for 24 hours. And one of the reasons you can do it on Facebook, and you can't really do this on YouTube as well, because YouTube doesn't really have a mechanism to like distribute information this way.
You have to be tuned in for the live and then catch it after.
They, like on Facebook, you can post a little ad and it just kind of shows up on your phone, right? YouTube doesn't really have that thing, so it's not like a really great mechanism for that. But like Facebook is. And so, just follow us. And even if you don't like Facebook, man, you can create one account and follow only us.
There you go.
And like, don't even have to put your real name in.
Toggle over.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's true.
And so, hopefully we'll get really cool deals out of it because, part of it is I used to be part of different kind of groups outside, and vendors would hit our local club and give us special deals, and it's wow, cool, man. My community is getting recognized and earn something special, man. It's fun. So hopefully we'll get maybe special shirts or something, hats.
That would be
I don't
awesome.
know,
I am a swag guy. I love it.
I love also making poor people sign 3,000 hats. So in there,
Yeah.
No, I don't know, stuff like that will be really, really fun. And one of the things actually too is I just don't have enough time for, or Randy doesn't, is industry news.
Yeah, no, that's a big thing we had talked about a couple times. The light bulb goes. I get real excited about that, but. Yeah, man, I like getting out there and learning about new products. I have a fascination with equipment for sure. I'm not one of those guys that finds the one I like and only uses that thing. I have a fascination with all of them, and I'll use 3 different pumps on a fish tank because I want to see. I'm just fascinated with the capabilities and working with different ones. So, product-wise, that's going to be fun. I'll be stoked on reporting on new products and. Different things that are developing the hobby. I mean, technology is just amazing these days, what they're doing. So it's cool to see how that's going to, develop, especially this next year.
And then on the flip side of that too is the what's the latest happening in fish breeding and which fish is bred and coral,
captive breeding, man, that's
restoration
huge.
and stuff like that.
That blows me away, man. Is every month you're pulling something up on Reef Builders about a new fish that they just did, and that's cool stuff, man. That's really cool to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of I don't know. I'd say there's some reefers out there that only interact with the reefing community on Facebook and things like that, and I'm not sure who they're following. Maybe some don't actually get news like that.
Oh,
maybe
sure,
they don't,
yeah.
Maybe they don't go
I guess,
to other websites.
There really isn't a dedicated place for that kind of stuff. I mean, there is on different, but not on Facebook.
So this is cool for me because you just kind of I'm like a dinosaur, man. In terms of social media, I'm so far behind. But I just think it's really cool to see how these different medias are used. So for YouTube, I feel sometimes I got a commitment. I open up the YouTube app and then I'm into this for at least 10 minutes to watch some video. I got to find the right one. It's a commitment. Opening up my Facebook, I can just flip till I'm done.
Yeah,
there's no commitment here.
Wait
right?
in the car for a minute or something.
Yeah, and I can just see a bunch of cool tanks. I can answer 3 questions while I'm getting my oil changed or whatever, and it's just a totally different thing, man. It adds into the atmosphere of reefing, right? And it's supplementary to each other in just totally different ways.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I think everybody sort of prefers to consume the content a little bit differently. Talking about the written, the video, and now we're getting onto this okay, where does that video live? And how is that video served to me, and how is it constructed? So some guys like the 20, 30-minute real in-depth explanation, but a lot of people just want to hear it in under 5 minutes and just get the point across to me so I can go home and apply it to my tank.
And then podcasts.
Our podcast. Podcasts. I've only gotten in podcasts the last year, 2 years. I follow this meat eater company. I love them, man. And I listened to the podcast, and that kind of got me hooked on it. And now I'm listening to all the big ones,
Oh yeah.
And I'm doing it every time I'm in my car, But I never thought I would be into that. I never listened to the radio much. It was I never thought it, but sure enough, this just last year. It just took one sort of topic to kind of inspire me, and now I'm in the podcast world. I'm downloading them, listening to them. On the airplane right here, listen to 2.
Yeah, because you don't always have time to sit down in front of YouTube and listen to an hour long of Randy and I gabbing, right?
Yeah.
But I can listen to it in the car, and it's just the easiest format to get it done. Because I could open a YouTube app and still make that happen, Bluetooth it in, but often, just the podcast app is just the easiest way to get that kind of thing done. So,
and I just like I said, different people consume. Maybe it's just that one piece of content or that one person maybe that just sort of bridges you into oh, well, this is a Facebook group. This is kind of cool. And like now I'll be in the Facebook group that when before you're like, oh, I hate Facebook, like you said, I'll never do it. But maybe just sign up for the account, get in there, turn the notifications on, and maybe you'll find some value in it.
Well, so use it for a different tool. So like I have 2 Facebook accounts, like one that I use for like my friends and family, and one for the reefing community, right? And they are used totally different, right? And like one of them, it's like, oh yeah, Jill had a new baby, awesome, hearty, and you go through those kinds of things and you share birthdays and stuff like that.
Right.
And then my reefing one is actually the one that's open like 90% of the time. Sorry, family. Is the one like because it's a thing that I'm interested in on a daily basis, man. Is like I just like seeing what people are doing, right? And it's just fun for me, and like it's fun in the way that like I can go to Taco Bell and eat my favorite chilito. Maybe you guys don't know what that is. Research it. It's a special item. Yeah, you can get a chilito. I can research it and just kind of flip through and see people's tanks and stuff. It has nothing to do with anything. And Facebook is now a research tool. It has nothing to do. Like it's so interesting to me. Again, like one day I'm gonna like wake up, start tweeting and stuff too. I guess I don't know. But I'm like 8 million years behind all this stuff. So I don't know. We're gonna see that. I think we're also probably gonna see best of the week type emails, right?
Yeah, that was one thing. Sort of like we're doing it now. I think it's Saturday mornings. We're sending out like a content sort of wrap up or a weekly roundup of the content. It's videos and posts from the week that we find really valuable. But I think I want to run with that. Like maybe turn it into a video forum where I can sit down and have little mini conversations about all of the cool things that we've put out this week. Bring you guys a really good post in, or say there's somebody's having a challenge like bryopsis or dinos or something, or challenging them, and we can have a little conversation about that. But then also serve you guys the content in a place where like, oh, that is interesting to me, and maybe it was on the platform that I don't follow all the time, and then you'll get over there and you'll find some value in it.
I think that's probably one of the emails that I actually get and open the most is the Reef to Reef, like daily top headlines, top sponsor posts and threads, and I'll actually see. I get tons of emails, tons of junk mail, but that one I'll scroll through and I'm like, oh wow, that actually looks pretty cool.
What gets me on those emails is the picture. For whatever reason, like I'll be going down, like I look at the picture, probably just because I'm, love bright corals and stuff. So I'll like the cool picture, and then I go to the headline. It's terrible to admit this, but
I think we all do that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
So David and Reef to Reef are the thought leaders of like forums are like the original social media.
Totally,
by the way.
totally, yeah.
I mean, I don't think people think about it that way, but it's absolutely the beginning of all communities.
Yeah, it was like written on the walls there for a long time. I think it just took sort of the right cover, the right picture, like the right way, like be served to people, because forums can be pretty intimidating, and they were for me. So in the beginning, with like, oh my gosh, so much. Where do I go? Like, what do I click on? But then once you kind of figure it out, just like social media, like once you kind of figure out Facebook, it's like, oh wow, this is really powerful. I just need to.
So I'd figured out forums prior to reefing in EverQuest. That's like precursor to World of Warcraft. That's how nerdy I am.
Am I a gamer? No, but I've heard enough about his.
I had 8,000 posts in my EverQuest.
What is EverQuest? Is it a computer game?
Yeah, like you go around and like kill dragons and stuff. Right? Like I had like 4 computers and playing like 6 guys at once. But yeah, so like I had broke into forums earlier, and that's like I went into this one totally knew how to use forums, like and how to interact with the community and
You're
stuff.
Ahead of the game.
Yeah, like so it was instant. But seeing those emails for me, I don't have time actually to go to the forums and like sift through looking for things that are interesting.
Yeah.
So if you can just send me an email of this week's best conversations, I'm totally in.
And like
all the way.
This can branch out into the news too. Like this doesn't have to be BRS videos. Like this can be like industry news. Awesome blog posts. Like we're not like don't put us in a box here. Like we're willing to sort of branch out because like we're just as interested in hobby news and cool things that are going on here just as much as you are. We're all love to keep fish tanks, and so I mean that can kind of evolve, into just another way for us to serve you cool stuff,
So one of my personal hopes is actually that you get a chance to use video to answer questions, right? When you see a really good one, like like, oh man, I never heard anybody say anything like that. let's like dig in and like share, Jerry's thoughts with the world because these are important.
Yeah.
I think that would be a super
Maybe
awesome
we could do like a video Q&A. What's that? Like a side-by-side screen. We do like a conference call, like a Skype call or something.
Oh, yeah.
We get a customer to agree to it, and then they'll show us their fish tank or something. Do that in a couple minutes. That'd be fun.
This is Jerry.
Yeah.
This
So
was
it's
his
not just like
question.
the quote across the bottom. I mean, we get like Jerry with his headphones on.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, I think there's going to be cool things, man. Hopefully with preferred reefers and photo challenges and contests and stuff. And like, we're just kind of like, open and honest, man. We created like this Facebook group. I didn't understand Facebook at all, and like I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, put a fish up there, it's cute. It says I won't get one link, and 5 people like click on it. I just understand like where's valuable. And then we opened up this group, and like 20,000 people poured in, and like,
That's not,
like,
that's a lot of
these
reefers.
people, man, this is a perfect way to communicate with each other, and it's so fast, and like it's it's just so incredible. I instantly understood it then, but prior to the group, I didn't get it. So this is super fun. We're gonna see those contests, maybe some preferred reefer group, all the stuff we talked about. So I thought maybe we should like dive into I see a bunch of questions up there. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
let's do
we
it.
can
Good stuff.
just hit on some of them. Randy,
do what we
go ahead and
promised.
shoot.
All right, first we have to hit up Farm Frags for the $15 they sent for get a coffee on them.
There we go. I will make
and
sure we get a coffee for
follow them on
Robert here.
Instagram.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Thank you
That's
very much.
nice. Yeah.
There's a lot of calls for Instagram. Greg Carroll's here. And,
Greg.
hey, Greg. And
Miss
Greg
you, buddy.
says, have Robert show some Instagram love, too. And he could do videos for those of us that aren't on Facebook.
You know it, buddy. Instagram's my platform. That's kind of like my game. I like that one a lot. And I think, I think it's on the menu, man. It's on the radar. We're gonna get some love to Instagram for sure.
You've got the keys to the BRS Instagram account,
Yes,
too.
yes, I do. Well, starting this next year, and I've got some cool ideas there because Instagram's a fun one. That's my preferred.
I do like it too.
So my preference is also Instagram, just because
Yeah.
I prefer to hardy
It's just
over
pictures.
like write stuff, and it's
Yeah.
just pictures,
Yeah.
and like you don't see a lot of political crap.
I was gonna say
and
people
everything.
don't tend to not argue or yell at each
Nobody's
other or
fighting.
political. Yeah, that's what's cool about Instagram.
It's the easier format.
Sure.
I have also grown to like square pictures more than rectangles.
Okay.
I don't know. In fact, I shoot them square now.
Really? On your
primarily-
phone?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know.
that's
Like,
interesting.
I've been corrupted, I think.
Yeah, that's
So
funny.
I'm excited to see how you guys take what you guys do with that. Because
Yeah, no, that'll be fun. I think it's huge for reefers too, because it's like, let's just be honest, man. You want to show off your fish tank, and that's what
Yeah.
that's when you go online. A lot of times, like you're proud of something, your coral's growing. That's why you go there, and Instagram is the place to do it. I think why
mean,
there's such a huge following there.
a little glass box of pride.
Yeah, there
If we
you
own
go.
it up to it, and absolutely.
And just like your pride, it's fragile.
It is fragile. Yes. It is. It's just like you're taking care of this thing and you're doing it something that's so hard, man. And when you finally find success, man, you want to share it.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
And so
And there's nothing wrong with that.
it's no, man, for sure you
yeah,
should
yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And like share it with other people who want to share theirs. Theirs and failures. Both
Yeah.
success and failures. Dude, absolutely. It's one of the best parts of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Merry Christmas again, Greg.
Yep.
Terry Wolfgang, he says Robert needs to start threads on Reef to Reef.
Oh,
Start
why
there.
not?
Okay, sure.
So you were on Reef to Reef
yeah, this
because
week.
the question, it was funny that we're talking about this topic and you're here today because the question came up on our Bulk Reef Supply sponsor page and it was like, is Robert working at Bulk Reef Supply?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
look here's his profile. It says works at Bulk Reef Supply. What is this about?
Yeah.
And then you hopped on there and
Classically, I didn't, just because I'm involved in so much other content. I was never, I always had a Reef to Reef account and I would use it for reference, but I never was really too involved there. But that's great feedback, man. Thank you. If you, want to hear that from me or want to see it from us, we'll put it on the list, man, and see how we can work it into it. I've got some ideas there, and Randy and I have talked about it a little bit, different things we could branch out there. But thank you, Terry. Appreciate it.
Right
yeah. And then it looks like a majority of the rest of these are some just tank-related stuff, which is pretty cool.
All right, shoot.
Let's start with the bottom one. Richard says, newbie question, if allowed, what's the best saltwater online company to buy marine livestock. I live in an area where there is no LFS. Probably maybe somewhere in Montana. I don't know.
Okay, so this is a newbie person, right? So in this case, man, I think probably inexpensive counts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And easy access and reliability. So for livestock, I'm super curious what either of you guys think.
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. So for me, yeah, I'm probably just gonna have to go with the live aquaria one. I mean, worldwide corals just seems too much beyond what a newbie would do. That'd be really intimidating.
Well, there's
beautiful
two things.
stuff.
There's fish and there's coral.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I think your live aquaria would be great for fish. For coral, man, I might say get in the car and take a drive. I mean, if you just if you can drive a couple hours to go find some yourself, get a buddy, that might be worth it. Even take like a 2-day trip. Get your cooler. Corals, can live in a bag for a little bit. I'm dealing with it like fish. Like you can get them there as long as temperature's right, because then you get to kind of actually see, and you won't be bummed. Like, let's just say an eagle-eye zoa like can look cool in a picture, but then you get it home, and there's only 3 of them, and you might be bummed, and then you don't want to let those things like discourage you. And the local fish store experience is so important, I think, to a new hobbyist and having a good local fish store experience. I definitely recommend doing everything you can to try to get out and support some of those local fish stores, but also just see what you can accomplish.
I could say personally for me, I've ordered live aquaria for sure. I've ordered Blue Zoo Aquatics before also.
Blue Zoo, I know the guys there in California. Those are great guys.
And you can't order fish from ORA, can you? You have to have is it wholesale only?
Yeah.
Wholesale only.
Yeah, wholesale
Yeah,
only.
so if you like the stuff on ORA, have your local fish store get them. But
Yes, you can request it.
Live Aquaria has them too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, but those are the 2 I bought from. And I bought Cleanup Crew from like a cleanupcrew.com, something like that, and stuff like
he's
that.
Florida. Yeah, Cleanup Crew. I think it's cleanupcrew.com.
Something like that. I
Yeah,
forget
something
what
like
it
that. But he was a really good guy. He sent a shipment to me the end of last year for the Red Sea tank I was building, and that was awesome. It was great. He I just had asked him. I was like, yeah, I just want a Cleanup Crew. Not really sure what I want, but I know I don't want like a ton of snails, like just a few snails. Crabs do their thing. So just put it together for me. And he was awesome. It was perfect. Gave me an urchin.
So for those who don't know, there's like a row down in LA, like near the airport.
That's why I'm so spoiled, man.
It's just fish row. Right? So all the wholesalers import all this stuff. And so actually, a lot of these stores that we're talking about just have like little cordons or sections off in the back of these facilities that are like for each one of these stores, right, that we're talking about. Because the less transport they go through, the better, right? And so they don't want to keep changing hands and stuff. So for the most part, a lot of these fish and stuff are coming kind of from the same places. Not always, and they're treated a little bit different in each place. But for a beginner, cheap counts in that case. Live Aquaria, man, is like one of the tops. I actually like Blue Zoo because they did a few extra efforts. One of the things I do is actually just call them up. Call any one of these things up and just find somebody who's like, hey, I'm a beginner. I was thinking about these fish, and see if they're helpful. Because if they're helpful beforehand, like
They're going to be helpful.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is if they're not helpful before you have your money, they're not going to be helpful afterward, right? Just earn some trust with some people. And there's, more expensive routes. We had Elliot in here last week.
Marine collectors last week.
Yeah, marine collectors. That's who I buy my fish from personally, but these also much more expensive, kind of like what you get into at year 2, 3, or 4 or something.
Well, collectors is the word there.
Yeah.
Like we start collecting.
And there's some hobbyists like on the forums. You can buy used gear before, but there's hobbyists on the forum. One thing I personally, I would, if I'm going to buy a fish online, and that's my only option, because it has to get shipped, I'd probably go with somebody who has like a live aquarium, who does have a nice DOA, type of, if this fish doesn't survive in the first 14 days, they'll replace it, or they'll give you credit to replace the fish. If you're buying from somebody on like a forum, it's a good option, and overnight is absolutely the best. If anything were to happen to that fish, though, I'm kind of out that.
Yeah, I would say, like trading coral. I guess if you're new, it's gonna be hard because you don't have coral to trade. But just know that that's a really cool part of this hobby is trading corals. I had a lot of fun. Met so many cool people doing it. Got some really cool coral that way that I probably could never afford otherwise, because I had a cool one that I could trade it for. So just understand that resource is there. I would definitely explore it. I mean, there's guys that do this constantly out of their garage and have hundreds and hundreds of frags that they can sell for $5 a pop. You just kind of have to, either get there or cover the shipping costs.
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if you can't find a fellow reefer or another reefer in maybe like an hour.
I was gonna say 100-mile radius. So do 100
yeah.
miles, yeah.
Okay.
And you could probably, well, we don't know where this guy is.
That's true.
So for me, corals are totally different than fish.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't like buying corals where it's not what you see, what you get.
Yep.
Right? I've been disappointed too many times. And so
Yep.
if you just see a generic picture of a coral, what you're going to get, man,
Just
who
be
knows?
wary of it,
Because they don't even know. They don't really know what's in stock at the moment, and it doesn't necessarily look exactly like that thing, so beware, cheap is getting you what you're going to get. I like finding specific vendors for specific things.
There you go,
There are guys out there that specialize in zoanthids and mushrooms and SPS and LPS or just Australian corals, and if you just kind of go around and ask the Facebook group or ask Reef to Reef or whatever, who does the best Euphilia or whatnot, you can really find that, and then the chances you're going to be happy go way up. But outside of that, actually, if you can find a local club, and again, this gentleman Richard here said he didn't have a store local to him, so he might not have a local club either. It might be in the mountains or something. I don't know, but the next thing is there are these trade shows that are happening, they just don't happen in the winter for the most part. So from April all the way to October, there's a trade show every month, right? And there's probably one that's going to be $150 flight from you. There'll probably be one just an hour and a half away from you at some point. And you can go and see 20,000 corals all at once. And not all, they definitely have your $1,000 home wreckers there, but they also have $15 frags that you can see in person and say, that's awesome. And it's actually might end up being, even with your flight, if you just go in and out in the same day, it might actually be cheaper, right? To just kind of go stock your tank that way.
Oh, yeah, then, yeah. Having, like you were saying, what you see is what you get. Having to see it first goes a long way with coral because it's a very subjective thing. What I think is cool is probably way different than what Ryan thinks is cool. And it's way different than what Randy thinks is cool. Just go ask Julian Sprung. He likes brown coral.
Yeah.
And so it's
It's photography, saturation
oh, sure.
rates.
Yeah. People manipulating photos.
Well, so they're all manipulated in some fashion, right?
Yeah,
They're manipulated, the lights they're using, they're manipulated with a filter on the front. The best ones are manipulating the photography to look like it looks like in person.
Yeah.
But the desire to let's just get a little bump of saturation.
Yeah, a little green.
There,
Believe me, it's hard to get away from it. Just on Instagram.
Yeah,
That happens. They give it to you. They literally will edit the photo for you.
I do it with my kid. Yeah, I take pictures with my kid. I'm like, wouldn't it be nice if it was brighter out today? Yeah, so that's the kind of thing. So if you can see the corals in person, a clownfish kind of looks like a clownfish for the most part.
Yeah.
But an SPS frag does not look like an SPS frag. It's just totally different. Yeah. So if you get a chance, man, go to one of the shows. Reefapalooza is all over the nation. Then there's also local ones. The local clubs almost always have one in your city at least once a year. So just search for your city and Reef Tank Club, and you'll probably see when they're going to have one this year, or ask somebody.
Let's say this, Richard. If you're having trouble finding people in your area, just shoot us PM. We'll help you figure it out, man.
Yeah, hit us up on the Facebook group and ask, is there a local club in the San Diego area? And we or somebody will tell you where it is.
Exactly. We'll be able to find that information real quick for you, Richard.
All right, right on.
Let's take a look here. Trans Jurassic 93 says, I'm starting my 75-gallon over due to bubble algae taking over. Oof. How do I clean all my rock? Bleach for a week, or should I not use the rock again?
Oh, well, bubble algae, I would say pull it out of the tank, dry it out, clean it off. You could do the bleach, but I wouldn't necessarily think you'd have to do that. I would say just dry it out. Everything should die off that, make sure it's clean, and, do it again.
I would have said that 3 months ago. That's what advice I would have given.
Until you saw Vibrant work on bubble algae? I know.
Oh, okay. What do you say?
It was there's Red Sea Studio tank where it was just thick chunks of bubble algae everywhere, and then
like,
was it
literally
like
melted? Does it like it turns like white, right? Sort of just melts away, or
I've never seen anything like it in my life. So, bubble algae, once you get it, to me, it just looks terrible. It looks like little warts all over your
I think it's
tank.
cool.
Yeah,
but,
right?
it's true.
And it's one of those things, like, it either bothers you or doesn't.
Yeah, I think it's just such a neat looking. It's just really neat looking, and it's even cooler to like touch it.
So, if you get it all over your tank, like, sometimes you get lucky in some, fox face or, some
I've never had
emeralds
that
or something.
emeralds they talk about. I've tried, man. I've never ever seen it. with
This
my
is my own personal take on it, and this is just opinion, is those types of predators are good at keeping it at bay to begin with. Like,
Sure, yeah.
so if you have some emerald crabs in there and you have certain fish and stuff that go after it, like you may have bubble algae in your tank, you just never know it because they get the little bits
Isn't
of it
there some
beforehand.
truth where they prefer to eat it when it's young?
Probably.
You know, like
yeah.
I know like hair algae, there was some talk about that. I imagine across the board though, like they're gonna want to eat it fresh. Shoot, we like baby greens, don't we?
Easy, small, right?
Yeah, and it's like tender.
Yeah, and so I find that like it will make it a problem like that not exist because you can't see it, but very rarely does it treat it. Like if you already have an outbreak of this stuff and you're to the point here where like
gotta start
Trans-Jurassic 93 here wants to shut down his tank, like it's obviously progressed to the point that fish is probably not going to solve your problem.
Yeah.
However, a few months ago, we heard this like enough times I finally believed.
Oh.
Tested the vibrant, put it in the tank. The stuff turns like silver in a matter of weeks. Let's go, and just like floats away, and then it's gone.
Did you like?
Like
did
I
you-
wouldn't. My advice to you would don't shut down your tank.
sure, yeah.
It's use some vibrant, and then just be
Try,
done with
give
it.
Vibrant a
Yeah.
try, yeah, before
There
you
you go.
take it
Try,
all apart.
try the vibrant first and give it a
Yeah,
whirl.
for sure.
Because we're pretty confident it'll get you to the point where you'll be happy.
In fact, like, you bleach the rock, and it's like starting all over, right?
Man, I'm
It's-
so scared to bleach rock.
So I'm not afraid to bleach it. It just makes it start all over.
Yeah, I
right?
think drying it out for me is scrubbing it out because I'll take the time to scrub it off with a brush and just get everything off there clean. But the only thing I've ever bleached was like fake stuff, like old freshwater
the
decorations.
bleach will just gas off, and you can when you let it dry, and then you can, as long as you don't get lemon scented or
Yeah,
something with
yeah,
detergent in it.
yeah.
But like in this case, man, what I could do is just take this like rock and move it over to a bin and dump some vibrant in there,
Okay,
right?
that's
And then
what I was
like in the
thinking, yeah.
dark, where it doesn't grow too,
You'd be able to
let
kill it
it,
off.
like all the bacteria eat all of the excess organics and or the heterotrophic bacteria go after that bubble algae and
Sure.
remove it. And at minimum, I may not have like eradicated it from the system that way, but now I know also the tool that will keep it at bay in a way it's not a real
Yeah.
issue.
And you're
right?
not killing off your biological foundation. Like
Mm-hmm.
even you move the rock from there to even a separate bin, you're still maintaining that diversity that's in the rock. Which is a huge thing. I mean, it takes time to get there. There's a reason fish tanks need to cycle, and why a reef at 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months have different. The 12-month reef is more stable, because of that diversity. And you're going to see it be able to handle things like a little algae outbreak and then just pulling that out, and without getting out of control. A lot better at a 12-month or even a 24-month tank than in a 3-month tank. It's very easy for a particular species of algae just to take over, because it doesn't have other things to compete against it.
It's absolutely true. And one of the things with dry rock in particular, like you wonder, like why do some people have such luck with it and some people don't? And it's just like one of those things that goes
I was
over.
reading some stuff.
It's usually the unique scenario. Like there's something different about the way that you're doing it, either good or bad, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I found is if you start it with a bunch of standard easy corals like mushrooms and zoanthids and stuff, like it's no problem.
Yeah.
Like I can actually start a tank using dry rock like really fast, like insta tank it.
Yeah.
However, trying to do that with acropora
No.
doesn't work,
Not
man.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't. You have a longer cycle for sure, right? So, really, I'd like to see the tank up and running for 6 months, man, before I put any acropora frags. Or I'm using dry rock, especially like I bleached it to 0, right?
Yeah.
There's just like stability things in there. Stability is like a vague word, but
Right.
Yeah, I remember I was asking you earlier, like, what do you think it was? Was it like, I was talking about, I don't know, one of the tanks around here, was it like a nutrient stability, a chemical stability? And there's just different things that can happen. And also, this is one thing to think about too, like your skill set becomes better. And so you're able to less screw ups, you know? And 12, 24 months into it, if you spend $150 on a frag, it's a lot easier to do that when you're confident at 12 to 24 months in. And you can be proud of it and you know it'll be around. But doing that at 3 months in of building your first 20-gallon fish tank, it's probably not something I'd recommend because you're going to get a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
You know.
So, all right, there you go. That's how you beat bubble algae. You could bleach it. I personally wouldn't be afraid to do it. You just realize what you're doing. You're going back to ground zero.
There are great bleaching videos, though. This man right here has made a couple
We have
of
done
those.
many, many of them.
Yeah.
It is like it seemed insane the first time I did it, but it is absolutely.
And there's great articles attached to those videos on the website.
There you go. Right on, man. Let's hit a few more.
Yeah.
And
There's some quick ones here. Like David, how do we lower the alk in the Red Sea Coral Pro? I would use Red Sea Blue Bucket or mix them 50-50. You can do that if you want to.
Really?
Little small ones, yeah.
They have this the same.
You take the small ones, mix them.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you can't lower the elk with just the. There's no miracle way to
No,
do
no,
it.
no, no.
Yeah.
That's why I like use the Blue Bucket instead of Coral Pro
Yeah, just
if,
do
you,
it.
if you want
slow
lower alk.
switch.
Be like a little magic alkalinity wand around.
To
Poof,
turn it
it's
down.
gone.
It's gone?
No,
No.
you can't lower it. Use a different bucket.
Yeah.
So like use something that you.
That's more in
It's
your
where
range.
you want
It'd
it.
be
yeah.
better off going under
Yeah.
and then adding some more alkalinity in than you are
Yeah.
like trying to use something that's too high.
Yeah,
You
for
can
sure.
always put more in, but you can't take it out.
Let's see. Does seawater salinity stay between 20 and 26 parts per million?
That's a pretty
Oh,
big
we
range.
usually- yeah, I know. Usually measured in parts per thousand, and
Yeah.
I think we all shoot for like 35.
Yeah, and it
Could
can
be
be lower.
I think it
on the
depends
area.
on what part of the, but not between.
That's too low.
Yeah, it's too big of a range.
I would say almost everybody I know shoots for 35 parts per thousand.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
in the
PPT.
range too. I think you're like 34 to 36 PPT. You're like,
Yeah.
well, depending on where you're at.
And some people with like freshwater, or not freshwater, fish only, like they run a little lower just because it's cheaper, man. And the fish don't seem to really mind that it's a little lower, you know.
Yeah.
So be it. But almost there, you got to remember that like when you go from 30 to 35, where you're changing that, you're not just changing the salinity. You're adding more everything or less everything. So like if I mix it lower, alkalinity is gonna be lower, potassium is gonna be lower, molybdenum will be lower, everything.
It's the
And-
seawater,
and-
not like any of the brackish range or any of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, we're just talking about the ocean where corals live.
Yeah. There you go.
There is, Derby City Reefers has a recommendation, and like to see some in-depth videos on coral placement. In-depth videos, maybe where,
Noted.
yeah.
No, that's something I think we're all still trying to figure out. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like every coral's different. There's different DNA in there. Some like a lot of light, a lot of flow, but you could have a same species but a different DNA set that likes it the opposite. You know, little light and a lot of flow. So I think coral placement, there are the basics, you know, but I think there's still a lot to figure out there. Like there's so much unknown about it. So
This is one of the things, man, like that I get most disappointed with buying online, actually, or really anywhere, is when I go and buy that coral, what they've done is they've cut off the colorful tip,
oh
right?
yeah.
Okay, and so like the problem is all those colorful tips kind of look the same, you know, like in terms of the shape of them. But some of them grow out into a bottle brush. Some of them played out. You know, some of them, they have like 4 different like
The growth formations.
formations. So like,
yeah.
it'd be just nice, man. If I mean, you have the ability to show the
Mother colony,
Like, why not?
frag. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
like a
yeah.
WYSIWYG, like here, this is the child of this one. Here's what you could achieve, so to
Yeah,
speak. Yeah.
because if I know I got an F-low and it's gonna grow out
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
big flat plate,
Yeah.
man, like I'm gonna put that something totally different than something that's gonna bottle brush up.
Oh, yeah, for
right?
sure.
And so like coral placement here, like in-depth video on what some of these are. Sadly, some of them are like the names of these things are just so distorted. Or something,
yeah,
you know, the birthday cake
Yeah.
surprise is different than like anniversary cake. You know? So like you can't really connect it, but like the people that sell this stuff for a living should absolutely show the mother colony
Yeah.
on here and what it looks like when it's grown out, so you can get better coral placement. But that's something that we can absolutely help with too here
Sure.
to some degree.
Noted.
Yeah, solid. Jake wants to know how long he cures rock for, and like we were saying, we got videos.
Yeah,
tons of-
there's a
tons of good
huge,
videos out
huge
there.
playlist on rock. Depending
How
on
many
which,
people are curing rock these days, though, now? Like, actually curing it?
I mean, for me, I think of curing rock is only to be a thing for, wild collected live rock.
Or we used to have the Bacani and the Fiji
Yeah,
and things like that.
now that we're using this either dry rock or, clean rock, like dead rock, it's not really a curing. I mean, you're just cycling,
Yeah,
It just
it's
goes
a
right in the
mind
tank.
life.
Maybe
Curing
rinse it,
and
but...
cycling is like this crazy thing. It means something different to
Yeah,
everybody. Right?
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It depends on which book you read or which way you perceived it to begin with.
So if you asked me a year ago, I would have told you, and then, like, it's funny how the opinions
Yeah,
change, right?
yeah.
You just keep learning. And
Yeah,
like somebody will ask
exactly.
me, usually it's somebody asks me a really important question, and you're like, man, there is a better way, right? And so like I was like, man, the moment you're gonna start, a year ago I would have told you, the moment you're gonna start a tank, go get your rock right now.
Yeah.
Right? Start soaking it in the bat, throw a heater, some dead
might-
shrimp in there or whatever. And to me, that's kind of curing. It's really
Yeah.
cycling, but like
Right.
getting all that biofilm to live on
Really
it
just
and
give
whatever.
your house a head start,
Okay, so then somebody asked me, well, what are you going to do when you do your aquascape? You're going to take it all out and it's going to dry out during that period of time? And I'm like, you know what? You're right, because I'm super anal about how I do my aquascape, right? And so I want a week of just messing around with
Staring
it,
at it, yeah.
staring at it. Like, so you're totally right. For those of you that aren't going to do that, you're just going to aquascape it in the water or whatever, go cycle it pre-hand.
Yeah.
It'll be great. But if you're like me and you're gonna set it up and stare at it for a day and then make a change and stare at it, because I'm gonna be looking at this thing for 10 years hopefully, right?
Yep.
So like the weeks now is nothing, right? Okay, if you're gonna do that, what I'm gonna say now is like just set it up, put the fish in there, and cycle it without lights, man, for 4, 6
you're,
months, whatever.
You touched on this a little bit in the thing, but without lights and then the like tangs and stuff. What's the word you use?
Oh
for
yeah,
those
the
fish?
utilitarian fish.
Utilitarian fish, yeah,
and-
man, that's a huge thing. Establish those guys, like we were talking about earlier. They're gonna take care of algae when it's young. They're gonna keep it at bay from you, so you don't have to deal with that stuff.
Turn on the moonlights or something so you can see
Yeah,
it or
and
whatever. But
you
like,
still got fish to look at and feed and
Yeah.
interact with. Just understand all that time that you'd spend leaving that rock in a bucket. Well, you're gonna it's just the same amount of time in your tank. Give it 2-3 months to really do its thing and get in there before you start to trust adding a lot of livestock at one time. Stocking it with a bunch of coral, a bunch of expensive fish.
So Jake, to answer your question, if you're talking about curing the rock in order to like get organics that are from like stuff that came out of the ocean to die off, I would tell you that in most cases you're going to need a couple of months to really do that effectively.
Yeah.
If you're talking about curing dry rock, which is like maybe it's not called curing, but like prolonged cycle, which is getting all of the like organisms to populate the surface.
Giving it life.
Yeah, man, like just this isn't if it's your first rodeo, I understand that you want to get it done as fast as possible. But like even if it is, like just put a bunch of fish in there and your crabs and everything, and enjoy that you have a fish tank for the first like 6 months of owning the tank. Enjoy your fish, enjoy the process, and when you do turn the lights on, the success rates of this tank are going to skyrocket versus trying to turn them on right away.
Far
Just
less
And the
headache.
reason is
corals
because
in.
the algae with your high output lighting, if you're not having coral and different things in there to compete with the nutrients, the algae is just going to take over, man. And within a month, let's say 2 months, like you're just going to be farming algae, and you'll have a bad taste in your mouth, which is what we're trying to help you avoid.
So I feel like it's my own personal duty to help people get past the first year, right?
Yeah.
Because if you get past the first year, you've learned everything you need to do to get to 10.
Oh, yeah.
Right? To be
Sure,
honest,
sure,
man. It's that first year that like I could do 18 different things that will screw this up. Like just like get rid of those and not do those things. And if you can get past that and the tank's been up for a year, it will actually now tolerate a whole lot of bad decisions. So
That's the stability thing, we were talking about earlier, is like your tank can kind of go through these things. I don't want to quite say it's bulletproof, but you can handle an alk spike when the alkalinity dosing pump stays on, and your tank turns white. You can handle like nutrient spikes without growing a bunch of bryopsis or dictyota or having a dino outbreak. But that only happens in tanks that are really established and have been for some time.
So that's like the heart of one of those questions is like, I used product X here and it killed my tank, but you two didn't, right?
Yeah.
And it worked great, and it's the greatest red slime remover ever known to man for you guys, but why did it kill my tank? Well, the reality is first off, the fact that I had that problem kind of puts me in a lower success pool just out of the bat. Like, not for sure, but like in general. And there's a pretty good chance it's something that separates me, and it's just in general, my tank is not as stable. So any change to anything in here just pushes it over the
Throw
edge.
a balance off.
Yeah, so your super stable tanks are otherwise really healthy. Throw the red slime remover, they don't care.
Yeah.
Right, my tank that's already kind of sick, I put it in there and it just pushes it over edge and I kick the bucket.
Right.
So yeah, you absolutely learn those things. Answer a couple more and we'll call it a day. But like again, man, it's been super awesome to have you here, Robert. And we'll answer 2 more and we'll call it a day.
This one I like to call out because you just did a video on it and took a big leap. And Odile asked, what do you do about dinos?
Boom. Yeah.
Dinos, classically, man, super tough one. But yeah, you know, nutrients are big, but light is big with that one, man. Black it out. I can't really tell you how long it's going to work. I would say go for, 24 to 48 hours at a time. Turn it back on if you're not seeing it. Of course, with your, keep your nutrients under control. But if you don't see any results after that, just give it a week and do it again, man. Pull them out of your tank if you can, but that's the only way I've ever seen any effect is kill the light, black it out,
So it really depends, man. Like there's just so much information out there, and there's so many different types of dinos and whatever, right? Like sometimes UV just totally wipes it out.
Well, and sometimes it's not even dinos too. There's there's very similar algae that can, some brown slimes and stuff that look like it. But go ahead.
Yeah. So what we found, man, doing a lot of research, talking to a lot of people that have beat it and whatnot.
Treating it ourselves too. Yeah.
So cutting out the light. It's a photosynthetic organism. We'll cut it back. Doesn't really usually wipe it out, but what it does is stunt.
Just like reduce the photo, or maybe not the length, but
no, you can just turn the lights off and black the tank out, right? It's a photosynthetic organism. It will slow down the growth, right? And so in that case, though, won't usually wipe it out of existence in that period of time, but it will create an area where other competing organisms can outcompete it, right? And so that's where people start dosing like the Microbacter 7 and the Vibrant and all that stuff.
A heavy bacteria dose.
Yeah, so the heterotrophic bacteria now has a chance to like overcome the dinos and other organisms, right?
Multifaceted attack.
Yeah, and so you just weaken it and hit it from different sides, and some of them totally wiped out by the UV sterilizer, manual removal, just reducing the population of this stuff, especially the stuff that floats up into the water. You can actually remove it with like filter socks and roller mats and stuff.
Yeah, just what's that? Just like you do red slime, you put it through a filter sock, and you can pour the water back in your tank if you don't have salt water on hand. Do it every day. Dump it into a bucket through a filter sock. If you do that for 3 days with red slime, I mean, probably not dinos that quick, but dude, with red slime, if you siphon that stuff 3 days in a row through a filter sock, you can get it all out of your tank. It's gonna have a real hard time growing back, that Friday, or the next time it is for a water change. And it's, get it out of the fish tank.
We actually have a video in the 5-minute Reef Guide that talks about how to beat dinos, cyano, algae, all that kind of stuff, right? And and I was really shooting in those videos to do this and you'll beat it, right? And a vast majority of cases, you have to actually listen. You can't just decide I'm going to do a couple pieces of this.
That's very true.
Do it my way instead of the way or whatever. You need to listen to the things and I'm going to do these in this order, and then I'll have a high percentage success. So I would suggest that you go out and watch that video on how to beat dinos. It's in the 5-minute guide. All right, one more, and then we'll call it a day.
All right, last one on here. Let's take a look. Question to Robert. What do you think of the new Red Sea 900 tank?
Bigger Red Sea, man. This would be awesome. How can it be bad?
I know the 750 XXL is awesome.
Yeah,
and it's 180 gallons.
Let's just say this,
9,
man. What's that?
How big is the 9's? 200, 200
yeah, it's over
some change,
200.
220?
Yeah, 220. I want to say 225, 223 comes to mind. But just in general, man, Red Sea makes a great tank. I mean, they're some of the nicest all-in-one, kit tanks that you can get. Glass is nice. They spend a lot of time and a lot of effort on sort of a quality control. As long as your tank gets to your door in good shape, you can trust that every single one, you can buy 3 of them and they'll be definitely identical, which isn't always the case in some of these fish tanks. The thing that's always impressed me about Red Sea is like the quality control, but just the quality of the tank in general. Everything about it. You know, your plastic's nice, your seams are nice. They use a thick glass that's low iron. I want to say on 3 sides, if not all 4. I'm pretty sure 3 because the back is black. And they just they want it to look nice. They take. It seems like they value an aquarium that is impressive and feels and looks like quality. So that's where I get with it.
So this is my personal opinion: is they it's where form matches function, right?
Sure.
At a reasonable price.
Yeah.
And so where like the furniture, it's a nice glass box, comes with a piece of furniture that belongs in a certain like decor. Right?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Right. So like the plastic trim one doesn't necessarily belong in every decor, and so this is what I would say in general: the tank should cost as much as the dining room table that it's in next to, or it should cost as much as the TV that you're looking at, right? So the other
Sure.
things in the room, like it should,
Yeah.
you spend $2,000 on a TV, spend $2,000 on the tank because you're actually going to maybe look at the tank more.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah. I mean, it like should match the things that are in the room, you know. And so if you spent $500 on your sofa, spend $500 on the tank because it's probably going to match the decor of the room.
Yeah.
But like, so Red Sea offers that option where you're just like, you know, you want to like up the game a little bit, make
Yep.
it look really nice, and it belongs next to whatever is in your room. You know, and functionally, it's really easy. So to set up, right? Like
Yeah.
people
They do cut
don't want
some
to think about
corners
it.
for you. Yeah. No, it's nice. I like the little. What I always liked about it was the little float top off. I know it's not the greatest thing in the world, but when you're new and you don't have everything, and you have a top off on that all-in-one kit, it's like, I don't know, it got me excited because the tank's topped off and you're not dealing with fluctuations or having to deal with any of that stuff, and you can focus on collecting the other gear and then get your nice ATO a little bit later. You know? That was a cool thing for me.
My favorite part of the 750, I guess, which is smaller, is the glass sump, open top, no Euro brace, big, just
Oh,
giant area.
that was
Yeah.
cool.
You
Put a
can
bunch
pull
of
the
stuff.
refugium thing
Put
out
anything
even,
there,
and
yeah.
just like, I just got a big box to put my stuff in. Like I'm not pigeonholed into I have to run it this way. That's
Yeah.
even actually able to modify the like a filter sock area to hold one of those roller mats in it.
They were
and-
very careful of being able to modify and add things like to do the way you want, be creative with the sump. I don't like the glass though. It's just scary. I mean, it's nice because it's glass and it's nice, but I felt like when I was working on it the first time, like I was gonna crack it. Because I was down there on my knees, you know, maybe not as stable as you might be doing, or you're moving fast, and then you put that top off thing on top of it. I can't say I cracked one, but I could say I've been scared because I bumped it quite a few
That's
times.
interesting, especially if you're doing glass on glass. But like plastic hitting glass is.
Oh yeah, that's not a big deal. But and this is down there. But when you've got that glass ATO thing, it sets like on top of the filter
That's
socks.
interesting. I never used that, so that's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's a little squirrely to get it in there. But
Glass on glass, I'd definitely be afraid. The nice thing about glass, though, is you don't have to Euro brace it for most sumps.
Right.
So you have all the space. It's really easy to get in.
and you don't have to have a big old bar going across the top, so you can put stuff in there easily. You don't have to dig or bend things around to get in and out.
Well, it's super awesome to have you here, man.
Thank you, man.
And
This is
I
fun.
can't wait to have you in Aspier's TV. And
Yes.
thank you guys all for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Adios.